Hello students, how are you? I hope that everything is fine. So we have started with language of chemistry in ninth grade and we have already done two lectures. In those two lectures we have completed what is symbol, what are the symbols of various elements. Then we did the concept of valency. Also we have completed radicals, that is positive radical cation, negative radical anion. From the radicals we learned how to formulate a chemical formula by cross method. So I hope that everyone has practiced well so that we can move to the next part of the lesson, that is chemical equation. But moving ahead, my dear friend, let me tell you, if you have practiced formation of compound or compound formation, chemical equation and its balancing will be much easier for you. Those who have not practiced well, keep on practicing till you master it, because the only method to make it simpler is by practice. You don't have to mug up the things because there are n number of compounds possible. So now what is chemical equation? You have learned in our lower classes about physical change and chemical change. Here we are concerned about chemical change. Any chemical change, when represented in the form of words, it is called as word equation. And the same word equation, when represented in terms of symbols, then it is said to be a chemical equation. In simple words, if you can see on the screen, the representation of the chemical reaction or chemical change with the help of symbols and formulas. Like suppose if I say sodium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid. Now here I am telling you sodium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid. Now when I use the symbol of sodium hydroxide, if you remember the cross method for compound formation, Na is plus 1 and hydroxide is OH minus 1. So my compound would be NaOH. Hydrochloric acid, again it is HCl. So it is NaOH plus HCl will give. Now if you remember in 8th standard we had done different types of chemical reaction. Not this particular chemical reaction which we have in front of us, I have only written the reactant part. So from the reactant part I can see that Na will go in place of H, and H will come in place of Na. Now here we are looking at the screen and we can clearly see that the cations has been exchanged, because during the compound formation I told you the cation is written on the left hand side and the anions are written on the right hand side. In simpler words, the positive radicals are written first and then the negative radicals are written in the chemical formula. So here you can see the cation sodium is moving in place of H, and at the same time the cation hydrogen is moving or coming in place of sodium or replacing sodium. So my product would be formed as NaCl plus H2O. Now this is my complete chemical equation. Now if you see on the reactant side I have one sodium, on the product side I also have one sodium. On the reactant side I have one chlorine, on the product side again I have one chlorine. On the reactant side I have one oxygen, on the product side I have one oxygen. On the reactant side I have two hydrogen, one in sodium hydroxide and the other one in hydrochloric acid. So on the product side I have two hydrogen. That means here I can see the number of atoms on the reactant side is equal to the number of atoms on the product side. Then it is called as balanced chemical equation. If somebody asks you a simple question that why do we need to balance a chemical equation, the answer is very simple. we have learnt a law called as law of conservation of mass, which states matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be transferred from one form to another. That means we cannot create any matter. That is, whatever reactant I have, that is, whatever amount of reactant I have will be equal to the amount of product formed in a chemical reaction. I can change the form of that. Like here we had sodium hydroxide, which gets converted to sodium chloride. Now here the conversion takes place. I hope that most of you have understood the part. If not, I'll be taking 2 or 3 more examples to make you understand. Now when the number of atoms on the reactant side is not equal to the number of atoms on the product side, it is called as unbalanced chemical equation. In 9th standard, we are going to learn about balancing of chemical equation. Please practice it well, because this will again be required by you in 10th standard as well as for your further studies in science. So, now what are reactants? The substance which undergoes chemical change are called reactant, and they are written on the left hand side of the arrow. What are products? The newly formed substance during the chemical change are called products. They are written on the right hand side of the arrow. The example which I took, in that example, sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid are the reactants, whereas sodium chloride and water was the product. Now a chemical reaction may involve, first thing, one reactant, two reactant, or three products. Two reactants, one product, two reactants, two product, two reactants and three or more products. Now just to recapitulate from 8th standard, we had done 5 types of chemical reaction, broad 5 types. Those was combination, when 2 elements combine and give me a single product. The reaction is called as combination reaction. We took the example, if you remember, in 8th standard, magnesium plus oxygen gives you magnesium oxide. In this case, we have 2 reactants and 1 product, and the definition clearly indicates that it's combination. When 2 elements combine to give me a single product, it is called as combination reaction. When a single compound splits into 2 different products, it is called as decomposition reaction. Here I have 1 reactant and 2 product. For example, calcium carbonate, CaCO3. On heating, if you remember, the triangle on the arrow indicates heat, will give me calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. Here you can see the example, we have 1 reactant and 2 product. Therefore, this reaction is known as decomposition reaction, and to be more precise, it is called as thermal decomposition, because here decomposition of calcium carbonates takes place in presence of heat or due to heat. So this particular example was for 1 reactant and 2 product. The example which we took right now, that is NaOH plus HCl gives NaCl plus H2O. Now this particular reaction has 2 reactant and 2 products. The third part which we are taking. If you look at the screen, a chemical reaction may involve the third point, 2 reactants and 2 products. This is the best example of that. Here our focus would be more to understand how to write a chemical equation, and then to understand how to balance and to learn how to balance a chemical reaction. My dear students, before moving ahead, let me remind you once more, everything which I am teaching in this chapter is based on practice. More you practice, more you will master it. So I hope that everyone carries a notebook and a pen with you when you are attending this lecture, so that you can keep on practicing when I am teaching you. I will hold for some seconds so that you can write whatever I am talking or teaching you. Now what is skeletal equation? The equation in which the number of atoms on the left hand side may or may not be equal to the number of atoms at the right hand side. That means number of atoms on the reactant side may or may not be equal. Like for example, the first example which I taught you today, while starting with chemical equation. NaOH plus HCl gives you NaCl plus water. In this reaction, the reaction was self-balanced. What do I self-balanced? When you are writing an equation, and if the number of atoms while writing the equation on the reactant side is equal to number of atoms on the product side, it is called as balanced chemical equation. Or why I called it as self-balanced? Because already when I wrote the equation, the number of atoms were same on both the sides. Now, as I told you earlier, the equation in which number of atoms on the left hand side, that is reactant side of the equation, is equal to the number of atoms on right hand side, that is product, it is said to be a balanced chemical equation. Now, what are the information conveyed by balanced chemical equation? Now, please remember, in chemistry everything has some information. Like we did symbols, symbol conveys some information. We did chemical formula also indicates some information. So from the simpler forms we can have lot of information. Now first thing, or first information is it tells about the reactant involved during a chemical change. Like when I said sodium hydroxide reacts with hydrochloric acid. So I can come to know on the reactant side we have two substances or two compounds, that is sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. And from the symbols itself you can understand that sodium hydroxide is a base and hydrochloric acid, that is HCl, is an acid. From the product side if you look, we have the product as NaCl, that is salt, and water. It tells about the product found during the chemical reaction. It tells the number of atoms taking part in a chemical reaction. Now you can clearly see that I had one sodium, one oxygen, two hydrogen, and one chlorine in the reactant, as well as the same number of atoms on the product side of these respective elements. It tells about the number of molecules of different substance taking part in a chemical reaction. Now what do I molecule? Like my NaCl is a molecule, NaOH is a molecule, H2O is a molecule. So I can come to know how many molecules are taking part in a chemical reaction. It tells about the volume of the gaseous reactant and the product. Now comes a term relative atomic weight and molecular weight. Now what is relative atomic weight? Because relative atomic weight is also known as relative atomic mass. It is the average relative mass of one atom of an element as compared to the mass of atom of carbon-12 taken as 12 AMU. From where this word 12 AMU came, or what is the meaning of AMU? AMU stands for atomic mass unit. Like you measure length in meters, time in seconds, and mass in kilogram in SI unit. In similar terms, we measure the mass of an atom in atomic mass unit, because atom is extremely small, and that's the reason we use the smallest unit to measure the mass of an atom. Why I am taking carbon as a standard? Because carbon has isotopes. When we calculated the relative mass of carbon, it was found to be 12, and we can compare the atomic masses of other element with respect to carbon. For example, magnesium, atomic mass of magnesium is 24. And now if I compare the atomic mass of magnesium with carbon, I can say magnesium is twice heavier than carbon. Why? Because atomic mass number of carbon is 12 and that of magnesium is 24. That means it is twice that of carbon. So it's much simpler to study the atomic mass number of other elements by comparing that with carbon. Relative molecular weight or relative molecular mass is the average mass of one molecule of its compound as compared to 1/12 of the mass of carbon atom taken as 12 AMU. Now these are the basic definitions. Definitions may be asked in the examination for 1 mark each. The next thing, which is more important, is percentage composition of compound. Now how can you calculate that what is the percentage of a element in a compound. Now here we on the screen we have the formula as percentage of an element in a compound is equal to total mass of element upon molecular mass of compound into 100. But before teaching you numericals on percentage composition, I want you to understand how to calculate molecular mass of a compound. Now let's take one example like water. Now we have learned that water has two elements, hydrogen and oxygen, that is H2O. Now in this molecule we have two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. So directly I write 2 into H plus 1 into O. Now we know that atomic mass number of hydrogen is 1, so 2 into 1 plus 1 into 16, because 16 is the atomic mass number of oxygen. Please remember and highlight it down in your brains. We are using atomic mass number here, not the atomic number. The superscript written beside the element symbol is the atomic mass number, and the subscript written beside the symbol of an element is the atomic number. Let's be a little kiddish and recall 7th standard chemistry. Atomic number indicates the number of electrons or protons present in an atom, whereas atomic mass number indicates the number of protons plus number of neutrons present in an atom. Atomic mass number is written as a superscript and atomic number is written as a subscript beside the element. Now what do I have, superscript and subscript? Let me take the example of oxygen. Oxygen, its atomic mass number is 16, so it becomes superscript, and atomic number of oxygen is 8, so it becomes subscript. This is the way we represent an element in terms of symbol. Here you can clearly see we have a lot of information embedded in this particular symbol. From this we can clearly say that oxygen has 8 electrons, 8 protons. Now how to find out the number of neutrons, which we did in 7th standard, was atomic mass number minus atomic number gives you the number of neutrons, that is 16 minus 8 is equal to 8. So in simpler words, oxygen has 8 electrons, 8 protons and 8 neutrons, but here we are concerned with molecular mass. So my molecular mass of oxygen water is 18. So most of you may be thinking that you have to learn atomic mass number also. I would advise you to learn the atomic mass number of certain specific elements. If you want, you can write it down. I'll be a little slower so that you can write down the things properly. Now I'll use some common elements whose atomic number, mass number, if you remember, that will help you in the examination. In most of the cases in the question paper, they will give you the atomic mass number of elements which are not common. Also they may give you all the atomic mass numbers of the element which are required for solving the particular question. But if we can recall it, it will be much helpful for us. Like we'll start with carbon. Carbon has atomic mass number 12, nitrogen 14, oxygen 16, sodium 23, chlorine 35. Now please remember, we are writing the atomic mass number, therefore I am writing the numbers as superscript. Now we have done carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, sodium, chlorine. That of hydrogen is of course 1. While doing the definition of isotopes in 7th standard and 8th standard, we have repeated it several times. Sulfur is 32, S is 32. Now let's take some example and then we'll be solving one question based on percentage composition today. So before moving to percentage composition, let's take some example where we can find out the molecular mass. Like sulfuric acid, we know that the chemical formula of sulfuric acid is H2SO4. In simpler form, I'll write down 2 into H plus 1 into S plus 4 into O. That is 2 into 1. Again, the second step is much easier. You have to just convert the symbols of element into its atomic mass number. Plus 1 into 32. If you remember, just now we did it. Sulfur atomic mass number is 32 plus 4 into O. That is 16. Sorry. So 2 into 1 is 2 plus 32 plus 4 into 16 is 64. If you add it, the answer is 98. So it's more interesting, my dear students. I believe if you have understood it, you can do it faster now. And those who want, you can consume time. But as I said, please keep on practicing these things. This will really help us out to go ahead and solve the percentage composition much easier. And guys, this is again in the syllabus of 10th standard. So please do not try to avoid this. If you have not understood, you can keep on asking questions to me. Next compound we will take is HNO3, that is nitric acid. Now it will be 2 into 1 into H plus 1 into N plus 3 into O. Now 1 into 1 plus 1 into 14. If you remember, we have taken nitrogen, plus 3 into 16. So 1 into 1 is 1 plus 14 plus 14 plus 3 into 16. 3 into 16 is 48, and the answer should be 63. Now we have done 3 examples. Please copy down some of the chemical formulas for your self practice. For your self practice, you can write down the question. Find out the molecular mass of the compounds given below. I'll again repeat the question. Find out the molecular mass of the compounds given below. Your first compound would be methane, and the chemical formula would be CH4. Your first compound is methane, and its chemical formula is CH4. The second compound would be glucose, that is C6H12O6. Third compound will be hydrochloric acid, that is HCl. Your fourth compound would be ethene, that is C2H4. And your last example for practice would be ammonium hydroxide, that is NH4OH. Alright. So repeat your homework. You have to find out the molecular mass of these compounds. First one is methane, CH4. Second one is glucose, C6H12O6. Third one is hydrochloric acid, HCl. Fourth one is ethene, C2H4. And the fifth one is ammonium hydroxide, NH4OH. Now, I hope, my dear students, that we are well on the same page. We know what are symbols, we know what are chemical formulas of a compound. We can derive it with the help of valencies. By deriving the chemical formula, we can also calculate the molecular mass of the compound. This is a stepwise method of understanding chemistry. Now let's take one example and calculate the percentage of an element in a compound. Now if suppose my compound is NH3, what is the compound? NH3. So to calculate the percentage of nitrogen and hydrogen in ammonia, first thing we have to do, first step is to calculate the molecular mass of ammonia. Now the atomic mass we will write down 1 into N plus 3 into H, which is equal to 1 into 14. Now you can speak with me. Atomic mass number of nitrogen is 14 plus 3 into 1 is 3. So 14 plus 3 is equal to 17. This was much clear to us. Now we have the molecular mass of ammonia as 17. Now when I want to calculate the percentage of nitrogen in ammonia, what we'll do is we'll write total mass of element. Here we have one nitrogen, so ammonia would be, nitrogen will be 14 upon, now if you remember we got the answer as 17 for molecular mass of compound into 100. Now don't try to use a calculator. 17, 14, put a decimal here, it will become 140. So it goes 7, alright. Point 7 is your answer. 0.7 into 100, that is 70% approximately is your nitrogen. Now calculate the percentage of hydrogen in ammonia. What you will do? You will do the same thing again. You will write down the percentage of percentage of hydrogen as total mass of hydrogen as 1 upon 17 into 100. Divided again 17 1 point 0 0 100. You can divide it, you will get the answer. So guys, we have learned today what is chemical equation, what is balanced chemical equation. Also we have learned how to find out the molecular mass of a compound, and also we have taken one example to calculate the percentage composition of a compound. That means to find out the percentage of elements present in the compound. In the next lecture we will be taking more examples for this percentage composition of compound, and we will be initiating the process of understanding how to balance the chemical equation. I hope that till the time you can keep on practicing the basic concepts which you had done till now, and keep on enjoying the online lectures, and be safe at your home. Try to help your parents and try to be positive. Thank you guys. Have a great day.